am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino Brown. Yes, sir. Welcome to another marvelous episode of Overreaction Monday. I am the governor of college football, and with me is a guy that needs no introduction, the mayor of college football, Downtown Nino Brown. Nino, what's happening?
I've been going crazy with the work and my kids' sports schedule. So obviously it's Overreaction Monday on a Wednesday. My apologies to our faithfuls out there. But I'm excited because I get to kind of talk about how I'm a sicko when we start talking about Elite 11s and these young bucks on the come up. And I got to conversate with my guy Andy a little bit, pre-show about it. It always makes me feel good when I'm on the same page as Andy, so I know I'm doing something right.
I saw he shouted you out the other day. That was dope as hell of him.
That's my guy, man. Good stuff. The road, the journey, like to come up on everything is just kind of crazy. Like, we had a show together and in the green room, our chats and stuff. And I told him I had a vision that this would happen to him. And here we are now. The guy, probably the number one guy in Utah for prep zone scouting these kids.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah,
he's in his lane. It's comfort. So that dude wakes up and puts on his socks and shoes and it's football.
Right. So 24/7, man. That's the goal, brother. That's the reason. 100%. The reason we all got into this. So we got a lot to cover tonight. Loaded up episode of Overreaction Monday on a Wednesday. I'm going to give you some preseason predictions done by ESPN. A lot of these pissed me the hell off. I'm like, these will probably piss Nino off the same way that they pissed me off. So let's do what we do best and overreact, brother. ESPN has Tennessee going 9-3 this year.
Yeah, this is I don't want to ruffle any feathers, and we're just going to keep the SEC on a podium. I got 7. Maybe 8. I don't know. I think that they could lose the first week. Syracuse, Fran Brown brings something, a demeanor, that demeanor, that just the way you handle yourself and come and play a game. I mean, they may, not have the same squad. It might not be Kyle McCord back there. I think it's gonna be Richie Weeks. But listen, Joey Aguilar's kind of learning a new system, and he's getting introduced to the SEC. I know Syracuse is an SEC, but ACC is a little bit stiffer competition. Than what App State was playing against in the Sun Belt. But I'm not fully sold in on Heupel this year. I think that I think this Nico thing is going to linger on into the season. I think as soon as things don't go right, then it's going to be the fans' question. And I've said it for what now? Probably 6 weeks for a month that the fans will turn on this guy when they think of what if Nico was here? Well, if Nico was here, we were already pretty much a 9-win team, and we would have been in a bowl game, possibly been in it in the end to make it to the playoff. And now it's kind of like you don't know what you got, and the grass might not be always greener than it is on the other side. I run the schedule. I mean, the Syracuse game is the first game. If they start out on a sour note, that's going to be how we're looking at the season to go forward, right? Then it's ETSU. I got that's a W. So they could be 2-0, but then I think they lose to Georgia. They win at UAB. They win at Mississippi State. Arkansas, they should win that game. Alabama, that's an L, right? Kentucky, I don't even know if that's a guarantee, to be totally honest with you. It's at Kentucky. Joey Aguilar's going to go into a hostile environment, right? Like I said, SEC environment coming off that Alabama game, and he could have scrambled eggs, coming into that. And then you play Oklahoma, right? Like it's at home, but I have that as an L. They're off a week. New Mexico State is dub, and then I'm going to tell you straight up, Florida, I think dog walks them.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think my guy Diego Pavia is talking shit for no reason. I think that game is going to be Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson. Like when you come out and say that Tennessee is going to be running through Vanderbilt for the foreseeable future.
He came out and said that.
Yeah, you bet. He believes in what he can do, and he believes in what that team could do. And they were, what do you call it, the Rugrats last year. They were just disruptive, and they messed up a lot of team seasons.
They did
last season. So I'm not buying to this. Josh Heupel is innocent and had nothing to do with it. I'm not buying in that Joey Aguilar is more than a lateral movement from Nico. I think that's insane to me. I can't see 9-3. I think 9-3 with Nico in that system. Yeah, that's a possibility. I don't think Joey Aguilar coming into the very shoot offense into the SEC competition, the meat of that schedule. When you come off that first game against, the second game against Mississippi State, and then you have that off week, and then you're running through the SEC competition, we're going to get tested, and we're going to see what we got there. I think he's in for a bumpy ride, so he better get used to the Six Flags. That roller coaster is going to be crazy. But I got him 7. I'll give him 7, maybe 8, but I can't see 9.
Nah, I don't see 9. I actually don't see nowhere near 9. I don't think this Syracuse game will look like, you remember the NC State first game of the year last year for Tennessee. They came out firing all centers. Be like, oh, Nico looks pretty good. This offense, the running game looked really good. I think this is a completely different team. I think Aguilar will have to get his feet under him, and he's going to have to catch up quickly. In fall camp. But I'm not very high on Tennessee. They lost a lot of production in the sacks. I really like one of their corners, Jamar McCoy. I think that kid is elite.
Even defensively, they lost.
They lost a lot. They lost a lot of production, man.
Off the rip, but
right.
There's no. If they had Dylan Sampson, maybe
right.
It's a question mark on who's going to be that guy for the Vols this year in the running back room. Lewis, Deshaun. There's three gentlemen there. One of them's a young freshman, but we don't know. We knew what you had with Dylan Sampson, and you knew that when games that Nico didn't play well, right? That Sampson could carry the load and give you 25 attempts for $140 and 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, whatever you needed to win the game. But that's not there. They may have to rely on Joey Aguilar early, and hopefully he's built for this. We'll see it early and often. But I got him at 7. That's my number.
Yeah, I think I had him at 6 or 7 wins. I think I did end up giving them the benefit of the doubt, 7 wins. But I think that game in Starkville is going to be difficult. I think Jeff Lebby and them got something under their sleeves this year. I think they could truly be this year's Vanderbilt, and I could be a year early on them. But it'll be interesting with Tennessee. It'd be very interesting. I think the most interesting thing about Tennessee in the past, I think he was so worried about, the wide splits in their van shoot art brow system, whatever you call it. That's why the running game, because you were afraid of the pass.
Right.
I think this year is going to be like, we're going to load the box, and if y'all want to pass the ball, pass the ball. We're not afraid. Right.
Last year, Dylan Sampson beat us. Now we're going to make the new young buck in here, right? We're going to make you beat us and see if you got it. And like I said, we're going to see what he's built for right off the rip, because if he's questioned, no BS, bro. Jake Merkenling, or whatever his name is, him or McIntyre, those guys are ready. And they thought that they had the opportunity before, when Nico left, they thought it was their time, right?
You think Merklinger still got an opportunity?
I think he has more of an opportunity than a lot of people actually think.
I agree with you. I don't think it's 100% Joey Aguilar job. While I do think he's leading, the depth chart and all of the publications that I've looked at, because it is magazine season, does have Aguilar as a starting quarterback. But it'll be interesting. ESPN has Iowa finishing 6-6 this year.
Hey, I'm with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dino might be mad at me, but I
don't think he would be.
I think 7 might be, isn't a crazy number. But I just think this schedule with, Granowitz, whatever his name is.
Mark Granowski.
Coming in, I think he fits the system, and he should have.
He fits the system perfectly.
Built for this Big Ten type of play. I'm just worried that he doesn't make it through the whole season. But is it Mouton? Is it Patterson? Who's going to be? You knew who the running back was last year.
Right, you did.
So now there's a question. Are they going to split it? Is it going to be 50-50 ball? Is it going to be one guy's lead back? We don't really know. Can Jaden Harrell replace Higgins? I mean, Higgins was so dominant, he went undrafted. So, undrafted, and he was so dominant in the Big Ten. Can Jordan Harrell replace that? But they're going to need it, because I have a funny feeling they're going to rely on their defense a lot this season, keep them in games. But you look at the schedule at Iowa State. That's a big game early. I think that's an L. I think Iowa State takes that one. Versus Indiana, I know it's a home game, but I think Indiana with Mendoza and what they've built to the portal and retained, coming back, I think they're a better team, unfortunately, right at this moment. So I think Indiana gets that one. So that's another L for Iowa in a big game. Obviously, I think they win in Wisconsin. right? But I think that win in Wisconsin might get a little bit better of themselves and gave them a little bit too much hype. And I think the following week, versus Penn State at home, I think they get brought right back to reality. And that's an L. Minnesota, I think they win. I think they get blown out by Oregon. I think I actually lose to USC. I just don't think they could put up enough points with USC. I think USC could put up more points with their offense compared to Iowa's offense. I know Iowa probably has a stronger defense on paper, but I just think USC will be able to too much of a deep threat, too much of a home run threat where I think they can beat Iowa there. So I got as lost. I think they beat Michigan State, and then I have them losing at Nebraska to close out the season. So I have 6.
You have 6. So I looked at this Iowa team. I say Tim Lester, who did a phenomenal job last year. I don't think he got enough credit for what he did in his first season at Iowa because these offenses were abysmal under Brian Ferentz. But Kirk Ferentz still somehow, some way, some shape, some form was still able to win a lot of games. That's what he's done his entire time in Iowa City. Kirk Ferentz has won a lot of games. You look at the defense, and it seems like they continue to send people to the NFL. And Phil Parker, no matter who's playing, who's out there, that defense, however he teaches this system, there's a lot of buy-in, and then things just seem to work out. I think they've gotten their guy at quarterback that fits the true RPO that Tim Lester wants to run. I think their offense improves this year. I think they'll actually be a top 50 offense, which sounds crazy for Iowa this year, but I truly believe there'll be a top 50 offense with Gronowski at quarterback. Now, they do have some really tough games. This schedule, this gauntlet that they go through. Remember the Big Ten? They were kind of in the other side of the Big Ten, like the Big Ten West. And, the Big Ten West was easier, and for years they were able to coast. I think Iowa kind of surprised me a little bit last year. And you asked great questions about the production at running back, the production at wide receiver. I mean, when's the last time Iowa's had a quarterback with this amount of talent that fits their system the way that Mark Gronowski fits their system? So I like them to be better than 6-6 for sure. I think they have a chance against Penn State. As crazy as it sounds, I
think that wide receiver room is bones.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
He fits the RPO scheme, but they're still going to stack boxes and they're going to make them put on the ground because I don't think that they fear any of that pass game, even if they action or whatever it means. So at Penn State, Abdul Carter's there, but what's his name? Doman,
Danny Sutton, Dennis Danny Sutton. Yeah, he's
not Abdul Carter, but he's not far away. You know what I mean? So
and they got better. They got Jim Knowles as defensive coordinator. So exactly. I see what you're saying 100%. But that USC game's going to matter. The Minnesota's game going to matter. The Nebraska game is going to matter.
I think they win against Minnesota. My thing with USC is I think with Lane and Mekhi Lemon and Maivia being the guy, now being the guy, knowing that he's the guy.
Right.
I think from how do I say it? Not the middle of the field past 15 yards and deeper, I think that they can hurt Iowa.
They can.
Unless Iowa can get the bullets flying. You know what I'm saying? To make Maivia get out of pocket and have to go off platform. But if they can withstand the first assault from that front seven, I think USC can move the ball down the field quickly. Yeah. And I think if they put up points quickly and take them out of this RPO scheme, we can control the clock. Now Iowa's looking at, say 14-0, 14-3. I don't know if they can play with USC in that type of atmosphere.
I agree. Like USC, I think people underrated how great of a season USC had last year. I think all but one of their losses came by, one score or less. Like they were competitive. They were in a lot of games. My biggest question for Lincoln Riley, the sexy way that he played in the Big 12 and the sexy way that he played in the Pac-12, could they play ugly? They demonstrated earlier on last season that they could play ugly. I'm with you with USC. There's I think a group of teams and there's a bubble of teams I'm kind of watching this year in the Big Ten. Iowa is one of them. USC is another one of them. Who's another one of those teams that Nebraska. I just think Nebraska. Nebraska is another one of those teams.
Wisconsin's
I feel like
another team. They're low key.
Is one of those teams are going to pop this year. Yeah. I just don't. I don't know which one, but one of those teams.
I got a dark horse too. We'll get to that later.
Oh, I'm interested to hear this. So, I thought ESPN was smoking with the 6-6. I think Kirk Ferentz has earned the right and earned the respect. His son. I think they had the 122nd best offense in college football with this son, and they still won 9 or 10 ball games.
That defense was stupid.
Legendary
but we
stuff.
need to see. It's been 3 consecutive years where they had a secondary, someone in that secondary go to the NFL.
Right.
As of right now, I don't see a guy that's going to be that dude. Like I said, can Harold be Higgins? And Higgins didn't even get drafted. So which is crazy to me. I think he deserved to be, but I'm just saying. So it's like, if you can't live up to that standard of those guys, you know what I mean? Like, I'm concerned. I feel like a lot of the main pieces on that defensive side of the ball, which they figured out every year for the past 15 years, right? But like, that's where my concern is. And again, yes, you brought in the perfect guy to fit that scheme, but I don't think you really put any pieces around the guy.
Right.
I think you're relying on him to get it done. And what happened with Cade? They brought McNamara in, kind of like in that same thing. Like, he fits the scheme, RPO guy with a strong arm. But what did they put around Cade?
Yeah, and they still were able to win, which is crazy. So I think with Iowa, I buy into the coaches, I buy into the X's and O's, and even if they don't have the Jimmys and the Joes, I think I buy into the X's and O's, and that has given me, and they've gotten my respect from that and that alone. So I think I think ESPN is smoking with this one, man. Florida finishing the season 6-6.
You know where I'm at with that. I think
that's crazy.
BS. I got him at 9. 8 to 9. I think 9. I had them at
10. I think I might have had them at 10-2, bro.
Well, I'm looking at see, like, all right, so like LSU early in week 3, I think that can be a got game, because if they can get Pup Howard and that defense can get to Garrett Nussmeier, because when the bullets start flying for Garrett Nussmeier, he seems to get a little bit.
He starts seeing goals
in the pocket. His feet start moving. He starts to rush throws. He doesn't go through the progressions as well as we'd like him to. He's still, he's still a top, 5 quarterback in the returning this year. But sometimes when the pressure comes, he gets wobbly feet and makes errant throws. So if that happens, I think that Florida, if Lagway's 100% in this offense with the Wilson brothers, watch out, because that's going to be crazy. I think they beat Miami. I think they beat Miami handedly. They got a week off. The Texas game is a flagship game, but I think they lose that game. I think Arch Manning is built for this shit. And when it comes to the stand-up, it's going to be a night game, DJ Lagway. But I don't think Arch Manning wins the game. I think the guy on the other side of the ball, we're going to talk about later on in the show too, Anthony Hill Jr., I think he is the reason why Texas wins this game. But then I think they rattle off 2 wins in a row against A&M, against Mississippi State. They have a week off. They lose to Georgia. But I don't think it's a blowout. I think they're in it for 3 quarters, and then Georgia kind of does what Georgia does and pulls away and kind of makes the game look better than on the scoreboard than what it was.
So you got Georgia beating Florida in the world's largest cocktail party.
Yes, okay. I do. I do. And then I have Florida running off 4 straight wins to close out the season.
Okay.
I think they beat Kentucky. I think they beat Ole Miss because I think Ole Miss is trying to find identity. I think, again, Tennessee's also trying to find identity, and by that time, I don't think Tennessee's ranked in the top 25.
They won't
and that team's probably just going to fold. And I think they give Florida State an ass whooping.
Ooh, I'm telling you, they're going to invert
in the swamp.
Yeah, what Miami did to Florida last year in Gainesville, I think it's what Florida's going to do to Miami and Coral Gables this year. Florida offensive line is so damn underrated, bro. Their offensive line is so good. That kid
305 or plus, all 5 of them.
Yeah, and the kid Jake Slaughter, I think he's the best interior offensive lineman in all of college football, and I think he'll hear his name called early in 2026 NFL draft.
I've been saying Pup Howard on the defense, I'm going to tell you the game changer on defense this year, and he finally got it together, because if you look at his body structure and how ripped and lean this kid is, Kamani McClain blows up this year. That boy is cut, ripped. He is invested in his craft, and he's locked in. That kid breaks out this year, and we're going to be talking about why he was a top, 10 DB in his class. I think he's got it all. Dude, he is the best shape I've seen him in since probably his junior year in high school.
I think sometimes a little humble pie get you there. So, I thought ESPN was smoking with this one. 6-6 for Florida is crazy. South Carolina, ESPN has them finish at 7-5. Let's react.
I got 10, bro. I got 10. I got 10. I think we might be looking at this team throwing out hardware to everybody. In the end, there could be hardware going to everybody. I have them starting out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0. I think they lose to the Alabama game, but I think they're in this game right to the very end. They beat Ole Miss. They beat Texas A&M. They're going to battle the Carolinas. They're going to just embarrass Coastal Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
This one I have a lot of question marks at the end. This game against Clemson at the end.
The Palmetto Bowl.
I don't know that Clemson will be favored by more than 3 points in this game. And to me, 3 points with South Carolina versus Clemson is a toss-up.
Right.
If everything I believe in, first of all, people that say that nobody was in on Lenora Sellers.
I saw that.
Hold on. Not just CFB Nation. Felix Sharp.
Right.
Campus to Canton. Like Andy Pham. SC. Like I could name 20 people that were in on Lenora Sellers before the dude even put on a jersey for South Carolina. When we were calling him the Goggle King and all of it. Like, come on. Like, just because you NFL heads just getting to the the show, to the parade. Sorry you're late for the fellows in the back. Hi. Don't put us in your category. There are a group of 1%ers that know what we're doing, and we've been doing. There's no off season. It says on the bottom of the screen. It ain't just CFP Nation. There are a lot of guys in this community that don't take no time off and are well aware what's going on.
Yeah, I saw that. I said, I couldn't believe it. It's one of those things I saw. I just kept scrolling. I'm like, bro, I'm not going to entertain this, man.
But if he takes the step that we believe he's going to take, and I truly believe that he takes that step and could have that Cam Newton-esque type season.
Oh, yeah, he can have that type of jump.
You add Isaiah Augustin to that picture. Now you're that safety or that middle linebacker. God bless you. You're on an island, bro. You got to follow somebody, and whoever you follow, that other fella is about to go to F off, right? But Nicholas Harbor committing to football. Right, no track this year. This is a kid that was, could probably make the Olympics. He was trying out for the Olympics. He runs 4.2, 4.3 40s. This kid got the speed for it. It's brought in all in football. And I think you're about to see the breakout for Nicholas Harbor. We talk about all these receivers in that class: Cam Coleman and Ryan Williams. Mazio Bennett had a year, but he don't get talked about. But he was a dude for them. I think he takes the next step. So I think this offense is about to explode for the Gamecocks in the SEC. And Dylan Stewart, you can throw the bag at that boy, whatever you want. Every team and every portal window available was calling my man. And my man said, no, I ain't interested. I want to be here. And with Kyle Kennard gone, you best believe my man's numbers are going up. And this is no knock to Kyle Kennard, but I think Kyle Kennard got those numbers due to the fact that they had an absolute freak of nature on the other side that was wreaking havoc.
Yep.
They might have to throw 3 bodies at my boy this year to stop him. I feel like my boy is possessed. I think Dylan Stewart's going to be in that category of top 3 defensive player, defensive end, defensive lineman of the year. So I got South Carolina just going off, and I think that they possibly could win 11 games because I think there's a chance they could win that Clemson game.
I mean, they showed that last year, and this was another one I saw by ESPN and I couldn't believe. We have a funny one that I'm about to mention now. ESPN has Arkansas finishing 6-6 this season.
I got 4, and I'm gonna run this through a little bit, and there's a couple asterisks on my paper that we're gonna get to. So I got them winning the Cupcake Bowls, right? The first 2 games of the season: Alabama A&M and Arkansas State. I haven't winning that. I don't know if the Arkansas State game is going to be as easy as they think.
That's not a good. Nope.
I do believe that they'll win that. I think they get blown out by Ole Miss, which is kind of a false sense of security for Ole Miss. I think they'll have to get it out.
I think Austin Simmons will perform in that game too.
Yeah, because I think he's going to want to show out Taylor Green. I think they beat Memphis. Okay, not handily, but I think they do beat Memphis.
That's a scary game. If I'm Arkansas, that's
a ready?
Scary game.
They lose to Notre Dame handedly.
Oh yeah.
They get a week off to figure it and a panic out, right? And they're gonna lose to Tennessee, and that's when they fire Sammy Pittman. I have the answers. Pittman fired at that point because they'll have lost back-to-back ranked games against a Tennessee team that, let's be honest, we all don't think is very good this season, right? And then they're going to run into A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU, Texas. I haven't beaten Mississippi State, squeaking it out, but Mississippi State could win that game, and they could just
I got Mississippi State winning the game.
Go 0-5 to close out the season. So yeah, give me 4 wins for Arkansas. I don't think Petrino is going to be the head coach of them next season. I think he'll be the interim to close it out once Pittman gets fired. But unless Taylor Green takes enormous leaps and bounds in his development this season, he took slight one. I mean, I wouldn't say slight. If you go from Boise State to Arkansas, he took a big leap because I thought he was toast at Boise State. I mean, just doing everything we thought he was as a prospect coming in, we could throw it out the window. But we saw flashes of it at Arkansas a little bit. Last year, just went back down to reality. So unless he can handle the load and be junior year's KJ Jefferson for the Razorbacks, I think we're going to see a whole house cleaning in Arkansas come to the end of 2025.
Wow, I think I agree with you 100%. And Gino Auriemma, women's basketball coach of UConn, has this great quote, and this is something that me and Jalen go back to a lot. And Brittany Griner said that she can beat DeMarcus Cousins 1-on-1 in basketball. And Gino says, this is a women's basketball coach, by the way, says, I will take all of the money out of my bank account and place that bet on DeMarcus Cousins. So using this kind of thing, I will take all of the money out of my bank account and put this on the under for Arkansas. Arkansas ain't winning 6 games. I promise you, Arkansas is not winning 6 games. So you telling me you got Arkansas, Florida, and Iowa winning the same amount of games, ESPN. It's just weird to me.
You can send that bag of goodies that you guys got. My house.
All right.
I appreciate sharing is caring, fellas. As far as Brittany Griner, I'm not.
ESPN has Illinois finishing 6-6 this season. This one pissed me off.
Was 6 like the easy number for them to come up with? Like, we don't want to do no research or anything, dive into anything. We're just gonna throw 6-6. They go 500. It just be easy.
Right.
I got Illinois beating Indiana last season. So
thank you. Thank you.
To go 6-6 would be stupid. I think they win 9-10 games. I have them at 9 with the possibility.
I like that. I think that's fair.
10.
I think that's fair.
And then they could lose the Duke game. I'm not really sure yet.
Yeah.
Right. But I have them winning the Duke, winning the first 3, losing to Indiana. I think Indiana gets them because it's at Indiana. And I think that yes, they did lose some guys, but again, I believe in Mendoza. I believe in the running backs that they brought in. I think that they're ready to rock.
Surratt is real deal too.
Yeah. I think Brett Bielema's defense and how it's built and how the production is returned, I think they can withstand the USC attack. And I have them beating USC at home, beating Purdue. It'll be a flagstick game, but I think they lose to Ohio State. I don't know if they're there yet to be able to last 9 rounds with the Buckeyes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I think it'll be like the Penn State game last year. Like, damn, Illinois had some opportunities, but couldn't figure out.
I give them 2.5 quarters where they're around, but I think the pressure, like of not getting like, we got to their side of the football field, but we couldn't get no points. Like I think that's gonna start to get to them, and then turnovers will happen, and Ohio State will just kind of put it away. But then I got them pretty much winning them all out except for at Wisconsin, because I think I don't know if they're built right. They could win it, and we'll see how the season goes, but I don't know if they're built for that atmosphere at the end of the season. That environment's crazy.
And that could be a bowl eligible game for Wisconsin.
Yeah, so I don't think Wisconsin's going to lay down in that game. So I have an L there, but and for my main concern is listen, they had a top 30 defense last year. They allowed under 22 points per game, but that whole front line is brand new. So they're going to have to figure it out. Who's the guy? Right, getting on the same page, being able to rotate, switch, stunt, whatever they need to do, they're going to need to figure that out. But I believe ultimately takes the next step because he's taken a step every single season. Even when people told me he could not take that step, he has progressed and developed every single season. And last year was, what we wanted to see out of him. But that running back room, I have concerns with the running back room. Is Fagan the guy? Is he healthy? Right? Or is it going to be Aiden Lorne, because there was nobody really that great last year. Yeah, McCray scored 10 touchdowns, but he had less than 500 yards.
Right.
So nobody averaged more than 4.3 yards per carry. Are they going to put more on Ultimai's plate, or do they plan on kind of finding a guy? If Caden Fagan is healthy, he's a bowling ball, bro. He can be a problem for them. We saw that his freshman year, what he was when he was healthy. He was ripping off 100-yard games and his yak was through the roof. So if he can be, then I believe it. And can Hudson Clement be Pat Bryant? Can they go 3 for 3?
Yeah.
Isaiah Williams, Pat Bryant, and Hudson Clement to the show?
I think
if he can, I think that that everything I think of why they can beat Indiana of last year, I think fills it because they're checking the boxes right down the list.
They check a lot of boxes, and they're one of those teams who organize their schedule appropriately. 7 of those games are in Champaign. They only go on the road 5 times. I like this a lot. So I have admitted this several times on Governor of College Football. I do not pay attention to recruiting the way that I used to pay attention to the recruiting. And really the reason being is I always know who the top kids are. Like, the kid Faison. Brandon really intrigues me, but I love having these type of discussions because I feel like this is 100% your wheelhouse. D-Now as well. When we start looking at the future, a lot of times I wait till they get on campus, and if they're making noise as an early enrollee in campus, then I'll start paying attention to them. Of course, I know who the type guys are, but like I said, I pay attention so much to what's going on during the season, and there's so much movement. So I love when we have these type of discussions. So Elite 11 is getting kicked off this week. What quarterbacks are you most excited for? And more importantly, Nino always has some dark horses, man. So who? Tell me some of the guys you're looking at. That way I can say, I remember Nino was talking about this guy. I'm going to pay attention to this guy when he arrives on campus.
I mean, obviously Bells is the Arch Manning type hype guy coming into it, the 5-star stud. But I love Landon Duckworth. I think Landon Duckworth would be the perfect guy. Because I do believe he's going to end up going to South Carolina. He was there, he decommitted, but I do think he's going to, recommit. But he's the perfect guy to follow up Sellers and Arnold, and then we'd have Duckworth. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, I made a post today. He has a quick trigger. He can make all the elite throws. His escapability, quote unquote, if that's a real word or not, I'm not sure. It's top notch. Like his accuracy continues to improve. He threw close to 67% last season, but he can make the throws on the run. He rushed for over 1,000 yards over the past 2 seasons, 17 touchdowns. So
that's wild.
He's an instant first down. And like I said online, every time he touches the ball, it's a possible house goal. He can throw the boundary pass. He needs to get a little bit better with the touch, but he has the touch, right? And he has when the bullets stop flying and the traffic builds up in front of him, he doesn't falter. Like I said, he can leave the pocket and make those throws. So I like Duckworth a lot. I may be this other guy I may be higher on than most people, but I think Travis Burgess. I think both of those guys have a chance to be better than Bell if everything works out for him. Travis Burgess, 6'5", 210, 205. I mean, that's a big body, right? I mean, you're looking at a kid that has great anticipation, where as a junior in high school, he's already throwing his wide receivers open. He's getting better and better on the downfield throws. He has the arm talent and the strength to make the deep throws, but he's getting better and better. His off-pattern throws, elite. When he's looking to run, like when he leaves the pocket, it's not, I just got to take off and tuck the ball and run. This guy's he's constantly looking downfield. Is he open? He's open. All right, last minute, I'll tuck it and go. But this guy, again, another guy that doesn't falter in the pocket when bodies are flying by, when he's getting hit here and there. He knows when to stay, knows when to leave. He can make those, tight window throws with linebackers over the middle in those 10 to 15-yard windows. So I really like Burgess, and I think as he has another season under his belt in high school and gets to a collegiate weight room, I think this kid is just going to continue to climb. And we're going to be talking about why was he, number whatever it is, 10 or 12 in the class, because I think this kid is going to be an absolute stud. And again, you're going from Gio to Bryce Baker to Travis Burgess. Like UNC's lined up with Billy Belichick and a quarterback deep room for them. They're going to be all right. And I think Travis Burgess is going to take Tar Heels to possibly, be a top at ACC when it's his time. Those are my two main guys that I'm looking at in the Elite 11s. I got three other guys that I want to talk about. Bryson Beaver, because I'm an Oregon fan, and this kid has got an upcoming visit to Oregon. Everybody's crystal ball is that he's going to go to Oregon. 6'3", 200 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You look at a kid that just has the arm talent, makes the bucket throws down the boundary. Mobile, right? This kid had 60 attempts for over 450 yards, so kind of fits that Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel type.
I see you going
Dante, you know what I mean? Like what they want there. He's accurate, 67% last season, and it seems as though Dan Lanning just seems to kind of get the guys that are on the cusp. Okay, he's making visits here and there, not really sure where he wants to go, but it seems as though Oregon's going to be the spot again. If Novosad moves on and it's Dante Moore for a year or two, and not everybody say this kid would be a perfect fit to the system, as I mentioned with two other quarterbacks previous, he fits it. Again, they need to improve. These are still kind of juniors, high school. So like there are things that they need to work on. I don't see a Tavion St. Clair maybe in this class or a Bryce Underwood at the moment. Obviously, Bell is the guy, but I think two guys I mentioned before in Beaver was already at the top, on day 2 and day 1, he was in the middle of the pack. So we're seeing that he has the talent level and can't perform. I'm interested to see how he performs at Elite 11s, what happens after the Elite 11s with his status and this official visit coming up with Oregon. I think it's going to be huge, because I think even if if he does commit to Oregon, I don't think that's going to be the end of trying to recruit him. I think you're going to see teams trying to steal him away as much as possible. This is a guy that I think is sneaky. I think that if he can continue to improve, and this is a guy that I said, this is what I saw when I watched Helman Kazaga at Corner Canyon. This is what I said to Andy. I says, how off am I? I said, quick trigger, strong arm. He's a little bit undersized, accurate. His pocket presence is good. He has that escapability factor to him. He's like the Magic Man. That's what I called him. Like, it just reminded me of like Ricky Bobby and the Magic Man. Like, I'm here. I'm not here. You know what I mean? Like, he just finds a way. He doesn't crumble. The pressure doesn't get to him. And he told me, you're dead on. Like, that's where I'm at. He did say that he's added some size to him over the past couple of months to be able to, handle the rigorous defensive attack. So I think if this guy can figure it out, man, he's a Texas A&M commit. This Utah's got some talent that people sleep on. I think this kid can be a side. I think this could be, one of those dual threat quarterbacks that people like, who already has that QB IQ, that football IQ in the pocket. He just gotta, like I said, I think that a lot of the factor that people kind of like not out on him, but don't have him in that top tier class is the undersize. And then
I love it. No. Go.
I got one last one. He just decommitted from Iowa State and committed to Alabama. I'm gonna go with Jet Tamalala. Okay, prototypical QB size, right? He's 6'4", 6'3" and 3/4, 205 pounds. He's that guy. He's a top quarterback in Nebraska. 50 touchdowns last season, almost 3,700 yards. As a junior, 70% completion. My thing is, this is a guy that when I talk about like when traffic starts going and it's not just red, green, it's just a blinking light, things start to get too much for him. Now he's got a clean pocket. He will sit there and dissect you like a scientist, in lab class. So I think he needs to get a little bit better when it comes to like the pressure situation and his footwork, but he can make those deep throws. Right, he's really good at that. And one note I have here that he needs to work on is more touch than zip. Has no problem throwing the outside ball. Right, he'll lead a receiver downfield. He's got the strength to throw the ball and you can put it in a bucket. But when it comes to that hard slant, that 5 to 10 yard cut inside where you got to fit it in a tight window because the linebackers, he may want to shy away from that right now than we would like.
Okay.
So I think if he kind of works on that and develops more than just being the outside thrower, I think this kid could be a problem and maybe give Keon Russell a little bit of oomph.
Really?
If he gets it all together, there's Alabama was all over him. As soon as the kid, decommitted from Iowa State, they were in on him. So the boss saw something, right? And I love Keanu Russell, but he's a little bit undersized as well. And I don't know if his
Right.
body's built for what we need him to be lasting, 12, 13, 14 games in a college football season. Kid's talent level's through the roof, but can he stay on the field? Right? That's my concern. I'm not saying that Jet's better, because if we go down prospect-wise, I'm taking Keanu Russell, 7 days out of 7. But I think that this kid can be a Ty Simpson in that room and fuck shit up. And when his time comes, if he seizes the moment, next thing you're talking about, hey, this kid might be a top 7 quarterback in this class. So just keep an eye on Jet Tamala. Safe pick.
Mm-hmm.
Ceiling's high. That says what me and Andy were talking about. Ceiling's not as high. Safe pick. But if you can figure it out, he can be your Brock Purdy guy. Right? We're seeing Brock Purdy have success at the next level. So just names to look out for, especially if he has to go to Elite 11s. We saw past 3 seasons, guys that weren't talked about have good Elite 11s.
Right.
Star, right. All of a sudden it went from being QB 56 to now QB, in the top 25.
Right.
So just a couple names to look out for. Just put it on.
And that's the beautiful thing about the event. And it always seems to be a couple guys, and not a lot of people talking about end up being some of the guys that they know got an opportunity to win this thing.
So that kid that went to Missouri last year, Matt Zollers or whatever, like he was on the cusp, had a great Elite 11s, got that extra star, boom, Mizzou commit, and now I think it's going to be his time.
So let me ask you this: so who's your favorite to win the event?
At Duckworth. He had a shitty day too. And Bell had a better day too. And Bell's up there. And I wouldn't sleep on Faison.
Okay.
Tennessee kid. The kid that's committed to Tennessee. But I think if Duckworth can get it all together, I mean, I really like his package that he brings to it. And not just because I'm a South Carolina, fan. I see some things that I saw in Sellers. Not as much. He's not the same body structure. But some of the escapability factor, that's huge to me, especially in this day and age of college football. We don't see, a lot of these guys aren't playing on the center, right? No. And if they do, it's not really until senior year when they have to figure it out for the draft, right? A lot of these guys are shotgun and that RPO type. So you gotta
be able to play off script in college football. Those are the difference between competing for national championships and not competing 100%. For national championships.
That's where I'm at.
So I love it, man. That's why I wanted to have this conversation. I know you would catch me up to speed, so I'm happy about that. So then we're continuing our preseason watch list series, and give me your Bronko Nagurski watch list, and give me a couple of dark horses. I'm always interested to see where you're at with these type of things.
Where's that guy from Boise State? Because he would be so happy right now when I'm about to talk. I'm gonna go.
What's my guy name? It's gonna bother me, and then I'm gonna go to sleep.
Brian something. It's Brian.
Yeah, it's Brian something. Yeah.
I'll put his guy out there first. I think Jaden Virgil, Virgin from Boise State. I think he can be that guy for the Broncos this year. I don't know if that offense is going to figure it out or whatever, but you have no Ahmed Hassan gone. He's gone. He ended up getting drafted in the 6th round. 1 round before I said he would get drafted. Right. So I was close to where he would be. But you're looking at a guy who had 10 sacks, 16 tackles for loss.
Wow.
Dominant force last year, right? He's gone. So that production's gone. But Virgin had 10 sacks and 16 tackles for loss, being on the opposite side of him. Now being the guy, I think we could see some of the numbers increase. If those numbers increase, I mean, you look, he had 40 tackles, 20 solo. If he gets to the 60 tackle range, somewhere near the 29 to 33 solos, and improves the tackle for loss number by minuscule numbers, like 16 tackles for loss when Abdul Carter had, he won the award.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, his numbers when it comes to, like, the red, he's right there. But if he puts up the regular tackles and becomes more of a guy that, like, a run stopper and dominate on this, now that he's going to be the dude, I think there's a chance that he could be in the conversation for the Nagurski Award down the stretch here. I mentioned Anthony Hill Jr. I have him on the list. You're looking at a kid as a true freshman that Shark doesn't normally start, and he had gotten 60 tackles as a true freshman, over 110 tackles last year. He was the guy on that defense. You could say, oh, this guy, that Anthony Hill pretty much won the green dot for them as a sophomore. Like he was the guy, and I think if anything improves for him. 60 solo, 17 tackles for loss, 8 sacks. If he gets a double-digit sacks and keeps that tackle for loss in the same box with 100+ tackles, you have to have that conversation that he would be, a finalist for that award. Mateo Ugalale. everybody's gone. It's his time to shine now, right?
It is.
And this kid was a dog last year he was a pup, right? And the big dogs were eating. Now he's going to be a big dog, but he had 40 tackles, 25 solo, 13 tackles for loss, and 10.5 sacks. Those numbers are stupid. But down the stretch for Oregon, he emerged and became a guy that was ready to take over. And what you saw for him in the bowl games and in the playoff was a kid that was built for the limelight, built to be the guy to close out games for a defense. And I think Mateo's going to take that step as well this year. He should be in that conversation. If he's not this year, he will be a finalist the following season.
I think he was ranked 11th in CBS's top 50 players heading into the 2026 draft, and he was number 11.
He's him, and I believe that he will answer the bell. Another kind of dark horse here, and I think the landing spot will help him. Eric O'Neal, defensive lineman, coming from James Madison, transferring to Rutgers, going to be in that Greg Schiano defense. Right. We know Greg Schiano puts guys in the NFL, right? He
does.
This guy had 13 sacks and almost 20 tackles for loss last year. Now you're going to put him as a focal piece in a Rutgers defense in the Big Ten where they just run the ball. What do you expect? I expect his numbers to skyrocket. I think this guy, people can be talking about him as, where did this guy come from? Wow. And why is he a finalist? Like, whoa, maybe we need to, like a Mike Green type guy where we need to, all of a sudden, we need to dive in. Donovan Ezra-Rockboo. Oh, we weren't aware. I was aware. Right. You were aware.
Of course.
We weren't aware of your game, sir. I apologize. And I think when we talk about Eric O'Neal down the stretch, obviously Dylan Stewart. And this is the guy. This is my fucking dark horse. Bo fucking Atkinson. Going from UNC to Ohio State. Cody's gone. Cody Simon's in the NFL at Arizona. JT Tuamaloa is gone to the NFL. And this dude had 12 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, and almost 40 tackles last year. More than half of those were solo. Now you're going to be at Ohio State. Like I said, in the Big Ten where teams run the ball. If he can be a havoc wrecker and it clicks at Ohio State, bro, those numbers should improve. I'm willing to bet that this dude is one of those guys that we're talking about as a top 5 finalist for this Nowelski Award of the year.
I love that. I love all of your picks. I think it's only one person I would add to your list. Your list was phenomenal, and it's Kyle Lewis, the kid at Pitt, with 11 sacks last year, over 100 tackles. The only thing that scares me, because a lot of these awards, of course, these are individual awards, but team success matters.
Yes.
So it's like, will you get that team success from Pitt this year? It's kind of the only thing that holds me back. And even though we're both believers in Arduzzi, I think they probably have the best defense in the ACC. It's just, what will that offense look like? And that's the scary part.
Correct.
So yeah, I think you nailed it. I don't have anybody else to add, brother. So fall camp is around the corner. I really couldn't wait for this question, bro, because I always want to see where you're at this time of the year, because National Casual Day is how many days away? About a month and 12, 13 days away. Yeah, August 1st is they're coming, bro. Where the hell they been at, in the past?
They won't last long.
Right. They're coming. So fall camp's around the corner. Give me some of the teams you kind of, there's always a couple teams you keep close to the belt. Like I think this team could be good, but I ain't really comfortable saying it out loud. I want to see a few things at fall camp. And then they may be on the brink of a big season this year. So give me those teams that you got on your mind, brother.
I'm gonna go with a small team first. I know everybody seems to be on the Miami of Ohio run with DeQuan Finn coming in there.
Yeah, the Red Hawks.
That offense is literally, to the quarterback is replaced. It's like 17 moving parts.
It is.
Everybody's new. So like they really got to figure it out. And they probably will be they were there last year, right? They were right at the top last year. But I think Ohio is going to be right back. And I think if Ohio can figure it out in this fall camp, where it's Parker Navarro takes another step, man. You got to look at it. Parker Navarro's best games last year were the MAC championship and the bowl game. So at the end of the year, right, my man was still figuring it out and getting better. If he can keep stacking that and turn that over to into the fall camp in this season, I think Parker Navarro can skyrocket. I mean, look what Curtis Rourke did over there before he went on the Indiana. We thought there was going to be a fall off. There was no fall off. The dude rushed for 1,000 yards. He had almost as many yards as his tight end did. And that was the.
Why do you think Tim Albin left Ohio? Do you think him going from Ohio to Charlotte was a progressive move? Was it a move for his family? Like, Charlotte is the Queen City. Like, why do you think he left? Like, I don't. Because
I don't know.
Right, Ohio has an immense amount of talent. Right, he did. He won. That's why when I heard that he left, I'm like, what's going on at Charlotte? And that's when I, started looking at their roster, and I became really intrigued with Charlotte. And I think I kind of let the cat out of the bag that I think they can be pretty decent this year. I was just wondering why he left Ohio, though. It was very intriguing to me.
Yeah, it was. And who's the new coach? Brian Smith was named the interim coach. And before the end of the season, he was already named the head coach. So that speaks volumes right off the rip.
Right.
C. Bangara left, went to Minnesota, didn't play, came right back. He's supposed to be the guy. They got a backup, which was supposed to be the Thunder and Lightning for them. Who's their backup running back?
I love duos. You need
Duncan
duos,
Brune. Duncan Brune. Now, this guy is speed, like track speed. So you're gonna have the Banger and Bangara, and you're gonna have the speed there. So you got the Thunder and Lightning matchup.
Right.
Again, you're not gonna have the wide receiver room. They're losing their stud. They had that kid for a few years on the outside. Like white boy. Can't think of his name. He was nasty.
What was his damn name? It's gonna piss me off.
Yeah, it's gonna piss me off. I'm forgetting right now. I think Rodney Harris can be a guy. I think Chase Hendricks can fill the role. But I think with a favorable schedule, right?
They do have a favorable schedule.
I think we're looking at like another. This is gonna be 3 years straight, at least 10 wins. And I think they're in the MAC championship. And if they can get past the 10 wins, they might be a G5 team.
Coleman Owen.
Yes, Coleman Owen. He transferred. He transferred last year. So if they can get to, they were 11-3 last year. If they can get back to that 11-3 mark or 12, hey, they could be there. That Boise State team from last season, right? When we're talking about,
they could.
A lot of people talking about Miami, Ohio. I get it, but if Ohio can figure it out in fall camp, they're returning a bunch on the defensive side.
They are
a ton of production on the defensive side. I'm not that guy. But they are returning, which, for a team who performed well last year, I'm with it. So Ohio's a team to look out for in that G5 bid. I think if they can figure out in fall camp, I think they can make a noise. And
I like that prediction. And I haven't been hearing that. So you're the first person I heard that say that. So I like that a lot.
3 10-win seasons in a row. Nobody was Bobcats haven't been that team, right? And I think what they're doing right now, they're in the trajectory is good, and the direction they're moving is well. I follow this kid. I keep him close to heart. He was one of my favorites when he was in his QB class, and injuries have kind of plagued him. But I think he's home. He's in a nice spot. He's surrounded by some talent in that wide receiver room. I really like Javi Broussard III, and Amari Thomas at UAB was always a dude. Connor Wegman, I think, is ready.
I knew it. I love it.
And Houston's got another favorable schedule, man. Hey, this kid, Dean Connors. So I'm going to go out there and say Dean Connors is going to be Dylan Labe of 2025.
Whoa.
This kid for Rice. I want you to go watch some film. I'm going to send you some film. This kid last season, back-to-back seasons, right? He's rushed for over 700 yards, right? Had more than 7 touchdowns. Has had 40-plus receptions and over 400 yards back-to-back years. This kid can do it all. Over-the-shoulder catches. He has it in his bag. Now he's at Houston. He's going to be that guy. And guess what? They play Rice week 2. This kid is about to go off for the Cougars. I think everything that they got going on in this lineup, they revamped this line, bringing in guys from the SEC and the Big Ten, right? Luke McCreary coming over at tight end. I think that's going to be huge for them because he can both play on the line. He was at Tulsa last year, and he can roll out and catch passes. I think with this schedule, we look at it quickly, I think they beat Colorado. It's at home. I don't know if Colorado's going to have it figured out. I mean, if you're saying Wegman or Salter, that's a hard pick for me.
That's a really difficult pick.
What Salter am I getting and what Connor Wegman am I getting, right? So, again, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He lost his job to injury. You don't do that shit. That's the unwritten rule. We talk about that shit all the time, right? So, I think Houston has it pretty good after that. I think the Texas Tech game, we'll see. That could be an L, but then Oklahoma State, Arizona, Arizona State, that's a loss, right? But it's West Virginia, UCF, TCU. I know you're a big fan of Baylor, but I think if Houston is rolling in there with 9-10 wins, I think that's a dogfight. And I think
every year in the Big 12, we get surprise teams, and we don't know year in and year out. The media, the last 2 years, I think the media were dead wrong about the teams. Last year was Arizona State.
Right.
The year before that, who was it? The year before that,
was it Arizona?
Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh no, Arizona was in the Pac-12. I forgot who it was a year before that, but no, the last 2 years. So Houston
or TCU, one of those two, I think.
It might have been. It was Kansas. It was Kansas. You nailed it. It was Kansas, and then TCU the year before that, because nobody thought that TCU would be doing anything with Sunday.
They were in the championship.
So I like Connor Wegman in Houston. I like that one. Go ahead. Who's next?
And this is a P14. This is a Big 10 team. And I'm not a fan of Jonathan Smith by any means, but I need Aiden Childs to claim this fucking team. They need a leader.
They do.
Aiden Childs gets on that soapbox, and they believe and buy in to what he can bring to that team. They got the alpha on the outside of Nick Marsh. They got him. We know what he's Flexible Burst 2.0 with more muscle. Okay, so they got that guy. They added Omarion Kelly out of Middle Tennessee. Almost 1,000-yard receiver. They added Christian McCroy from Kent State, 800 yards. They're putting pieces around him now. You got your alpha, and now you got your wingman, right? Both of that offensive line added 3 guys that are over 300 pounds. I think one from Wake Forest, one from Purdue. They're not just getting, leftover scraps. They're adding pieces that were hungry and want to play. Jonathan Smith's success rides on Aiden Childs. You took him from where he was. You recruited him. You took your guy with you, right? Now I need to see both of you take that step. They brought in a 1,000-yard running back out of Sacramento State and Elijah Tua Tagovailoa. They have an offense. The pieces are in play. And now we go look at the schedule. Western Michigan, Boston College, Youngstown State. Yeah, that's a possible 3-0 to start the year, right?
Yeah.
All their games are at home. First 3 games are at home. You go on the road to USC. That's the measuring stick game. We're going to see what you're built for. Are you ready for this? Are you real? Is it go green or go home? What are we doing right now, right?
And they fans travel really well, by the way.
At Nebraska, another big one. But you got a week off there. So the travel can't be the excuse, right? No need. UCLA, at Indiana, if they figure it out, could be a winnable game. I think they could beat Michigan.
They can?
I think they could beat Michigan, especially if they don't know what's going on at the quarterback room. I think that could be.
Yeah, why did they just sign Jake Garcia?
Do you not believe in Bryce Underwood, or do you not believe in Mikey King?
What's going on? Something is going on.
That made me think they're not ready.
Yeah, that exactly. Like you just kind of your smoke screen just went away. What the hell is going on? Why are you signing this kid? I seen this kid versus Norfolk State last year. He threw 3 interceptions.
And then after Michigan, it's just Penn State and Iowa. I don't know if Michigan. Listen, if Michigan State has figured it out and they're playing winning ball, that Iowa game is going to be.
It's going to be a damn good. It's going to be a slugfest. Yeah.
Now we're looking at a Michigan State team that could be in a 9-10, possibly. If they can figure out. So, like this again, fall camp. Who's my identity? Take this team. You're the guy. Everything runs through you. Your success, the way you handle yourself, it all runs through you. Be the Caleb Williams. Be the Bo Nix. Be the guy for your team that everybody thought that you were that dude. I said when he came in, I think he was a dark horse quarterback in that class, and he flashed. And then we haven't seen anything since then. Like we saw what the flash was, but we haven't seen the bang since.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're just flashing, but when I see no bang, it's like that thunder, but then you count 1, 2.
Right. You know,
still in the distance. Right. I want that instant pow. Give me that shit. Snap that tree in half. Let them know that, you're Goliath in this motherfucker. You know what I mean? And I think if they can do that and they take on Aiden Childs' demeanor, I think Michigan State could be a fucking problem.
I think he has a lot of buy-in. I was at the Maryland Michigan State game this past season, and most of the times when you're at these games and on the field, as you already know, the visitor side, you have more access. You at the home side, they're being real strict. They got people there. On the visitor side, you're able to listen in. I can hear plays. I can hear, coaches, but the entire time on the sideline, you hear Aiden Child, hey, we're going to get it next time. He's bigging his players up, trying to get them motivated in the game that Maryland looked like they would have had. And then that's when the Nick Marsh play happened.
Yep.
Bada boom, they was able to put it away. So I like this take. And I was talking about this yesterday on Governor College Football. There's a lot of teams that I'm trying to calibrate. I don't quite know where they're at. And I felt the same way about Michigan State, where I don't know where they're at. I think fall camp will get a little bit more about them. So I love your Michigan State take.
And their team, I think there's a handful of Big Ten teams that could be a problem. And I think if they win games or hang around games that they weren't supposed to be in, all you're doing is giving a team that hasn't figured it out yet confidence to figure it out.
I'm almost there with UCLA. I think I'm almost there with UCLA.
I'm there with UCLA for the simple fact that I don't think people understand how sour.
Oh, yeah.
How sour Nico is. Now he has his brother with him. Like the comfortability. He knows his brother's not trying to take his fucking job.
Right.
You know what I mean? Deshaun Foster is gonna bring that NFL, type of information and coaching to Nico. I think that offense fits him a lot better than that veer and shoot style offense. And like you said before, I've been a fan, and I'm slowly starting to buy into the Mikey Matthews breakout.
Yeah. Tino Sinceri, I'm a huge fan of his.
Family, bro. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't Hawaiian.
I don't know. I think Indiana regresses because Tino Sinceri isn't there. Like, I truly believe, even though Mike Shanahan was a offensive coordinator, but now we're starting to see a run game coordinator and a passing game coordinator. Well, Tino Sinceri last year was a passing game coordinator. I'm there with UCLA. Like I said, I'm almost there. I just got to see how Nico looks, what the offense is looking like, what type of intel are we getting out of LA. But look out for them. I know they will be bowl eligible. That's how confident I am. The road there isn't 100% easy now. So they're gonna have to win some games that most would say they would probably not be favored in. But I'm interested to see who finishes with more victories this year, Tennessee or UCLA. I'm really interested to see that.
I was never a fan of him, and I was told that he was supposed to be a guy, and he proved me wrong. He kind of, but Jalen Berger, had like 700 yards, I think, in 2022 for Michigan State. He's not a solid running back for UCLA. There ain't nobody there to take his job away. If you just look at the lineup, a lot of these guys are here. They got chips on their shoulder. Like, we got something to prove. Like, this is our first stop. It didn't work out wherever we went before. You know that movie, The Replacements? Like Falco? You might see Nico Iamaleava have a Shane Falco-esque type year where just him and what his presence and his motivation can rally the troops, and now everybody buys into it. Watch out. I'm not saying UCLA is going to go 10-win season, but that 6-6, 5-7 mark that they're trying to throw out there for them, watch out. They're going to be in a bowl game, and it's not going to be by the skin of their teeth.
I agree with that 100%, man. I like it.
It's just fun.
Hey, it's always fun. It sounds like somebody at my door. I don't know what the hell's going on, man. But yeah, it's a fun episode, man. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in the sport that survive in advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And until next time, you all take care. Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino